Hello, this is the Fifth Star Podcast. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Albert.
And we're trying to find our next 5-star movie. And when we find that movie, this podcast will melt.
For good. So the day has finally arrived. Wicked, the epic conclusion of the Wicked movies. We are reviewing Wicked for good.
Or part 2, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's officially called Wicked for good,
That's
but
fair.
The title card says otherwise. So this had a massive opening.
Yeah.
150 million domestic.
Insane.
Beat the first one in terms of the record. Which,
the parking lot was completely full.
Oh, interesting.
Which the movie parking lot is almost never full anymore.
Yeah, our parking lot was full when I went to watch it, but the theater wasn't. So I guess it was like other screenings.
Interesting.
Now, I am kind of curious how you're going to feel about this, but I looked at all the ratings that have come out so far.
Okay.
And compared them to the originals.
Oh.
Now, there's been more ratings for the first movie because it's been out longer, obviously. But the Rotten Tomatoes critic score, the original had 88%.
Okay.
And then this one was at 70%.
Is this okay? This is the critics.
Yeah,
Okay.
so for the critics. But the audience score stayed the same at 95 for the first and the second one.
Wow.
Now for Letterboxd, it went down marginally from 3.8 to 3.7 for the second one.
Very marginally.
And then IMDb went down just a little bit too, from 7.4 to 7.2.
Wow.
So, I think
fascinating.
Generally, I guess it seems like the critics were much lower on this movie than the first, but everyone else kind of was the same.
Yeah.
Now, before we give our rankings or guess what each other's rankings was, I will tell you that I rewatched part 1 right before I watched this because I realized I had forgotten a lot of the details and stuff like that. And on a second rewatch, originally I had given this the 3.0. I went up to 3.5 for part 1.
Yay!
Yeah.
Which, if you remember, I gave it a 4.
You gave it a 4.
That's a huge win.
So I think it's purely based on the Ariana Grande performance.
So good.
And also just the songs. Like after having watched that.
So good.
Just re-listening to the songs throughout the past year. And
realizing that Cynthia Erivo is actually singing.
Well, yes. I mean, she is good, but I still think that I prefer Idina Menzel.
Okay. I mean,
to her.
She's the original.
Yeah,
so
but
can't fault you.
I do think Ariana Grande was better than Kristen Chenoweth.
Wow.
Even because I was listening to the songs, like some of the ones like Popular and the Loathing song. What's the Loathing song called? Oh, This Feeling. What is this feeling?
What is this feeling?
Yeah. So like listening to those back to back with the original, I just think Ariana Grande is so good in that first movie. Like
she
her
did
alone.
kill it, yeah.
Yeah. And then the songs are so good. So I was like, okay, I gotta go up a little bit. Yeah, 3.5. So,
Woo!
but given
awesome.
that, yeah, what do you think I gave this one?
Okay. I think you gave this one a 2.5.
Okay, 2.5. Now
But that is based off the fact that you gave the first one a 3 originally.
Yeah.
So that's why this is my guess.
Okay. You gave the first one a 4. I'm gonna guess you gave this one a 3.5.
Okay.
So I feel like this is out of 5 stars.
It's a good guess.
I think, this kind of trend that seems like the second film is a little lower for some people. And part of that, I think, has to do with the selection of songs in the first half to the second half.
I completely agree. I mean, going into spoiler-free thoughts.
Spoiler-free thoughts first, and then we'll reveal our scores.
I think that, so I've been a fan of the show since I was like 10 years old when I first got the soundtrack, obsessively memorized all the songs. And the second act has always been weaker, in my opinion. And then when I got to see it on Broadway, I felt the same way, where the second act is just, it's plot. It's packed into just, an hour and a half or something of time. And you get a little lost. And whereas the first act, I think it's paced super well. I feel like it's good setup, but it also has like a really nice arc for the characters to go on from being like enemies to friends. The second act, oh my goodness, there's just so much happening. Yeah, so I am
Do you think
mixed on
that
my
affects?
review here.
And you're talking about the musical, right?
I'm talking about the musical, but that obviously impacts the movies too.
Yeah.
And purely based on like the source material, I'm trying not to fault the movie too much because they had to work off of splitting it into 2 movies to begin with. Already you're going to have to create like 2 separate arcs that can also arc together as one.
Mm-hmm.
That is not easy to do. And so I think this movie maybe suffered a little bit because of that.
Okay. Now, do you think that in the musical, that because there's so much plot, that the songs, not only are the songs weaker, but are the songs kind of less prominent? Because in the movie, like this new one, it kind of felt like the songs were almost like background, and it was more driven by like kind of the plot, the dialogue scenes, and things like that. Is that representative of the?
I kind of agree because a lot of the most iconic songs are in the first act. Mm-hmm. So like Popular, Wizard and I, Defying Gravity. Those are Dancing Through Life. Those are all super iconic.
Yeah. And the whole story stops and we're just like focused on this moment.
And it's guiding the plot.
Yeah.
This one, I think there's only a couple. I mean, I thought No Good Deed was good. I feel like that one, hits on the plot really well. But then you're right. I think a lot of the other songs, they kind of almost pause the story rather than continue it a little bit. They're not as iconic. They really aren't. Yeah. And I think it's because the second act is trying really hard to just like set up the Wizard of Oz, and the focus becomes about like, the backstory behind all these different side characters and how all these different things came to be. And then the pieces end up sort of feeling like a hodgepodge rather than a puzzle coming together.
Yeah.
Like a collage.
Yeah, I kind of felt that during the movie. Now, I've seen the musical once, but totally forgot everything that was going to happen. So I was kind of experiencing the story like almost for the first time. And there was a lot going on. But there was an element of the second movie that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Which is that it sets up the stakes a lot more. Like, I remember after watching the first one, we're going to assume that you've seen the first movie, right?
Yeah,
obviously, if you're watching this one. I remember kind of being like at the end, like, okay, so now Elphaba is like singing this big song of rebellion and it's going to go off. But it's like, okay, we know that the wizard is like not totally being truthful and there's something he's doing with the animals. But it's like very quickly shown a little bit or explained a little bit, and then she like takes this turn and then sings Defying Gravity and it feels like it just ends.
Yeah. So
it's setting up, but we haven't really felt the impact of those things. Like, I didn't walk away being like, oh, I can't wait for her to take down the wizard, or like,
right.
It's just like, okay, well, we'll see what happens in the rest of the story.
Right.
Well, the second one I think starts off setting those stakes really well, where it's like, I mean, this is literally the first scene of the movie, so hopefully this isn't a spoiler, but you have like animals being subjected to like slave labor, and the impact of what the Wizard of Oz is doing in terms of silencing the animals is really established a lot better, I think, in this movie.
Yeah.
And I think that part of it, and there's a lot of these themes of what should leaders do? Should they tell the people the truth, or is it better for them to not tell people the truth?
Right.
Like the role of propaganda. The
whole Wonderful song where he's like kind of explaining, even if I told them the truth, they still wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah. And so those elements, I think, worked to really flesh out the story so much more deeply than I felt like the first one had.
I agree. I think there are way more stakes. And there's like I was saying, there's so much more going on.
Yeah. But it's that plus all these other storylines going on. The love story, the this. So there are so many other things that maybe they're competing too much.
Yeah.
And then you have like Glinda has her whole thing and her whole arc. She becomes like really prominent in this second half, which I actually thought that Ariana Grande, in the first half, if we're going to say that, man, her singing, her dancing was like exceptional. Her comedy. I'll say in the second movie, like her acting was really on display. Like I thought she gave a really good dramatic performance.
Yeah, and I think that's what's interesting is in the first part, she's so funny and happy, and then in the second part, she's basically sad the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, she had a lot of these scenes where she had to express those feelings. And I thought she did it really well. Like, I don't know how you felt, but
yeah, I think she did. I mean, there were a couple moments where I was like, oh, this is definitely her theater background coming out, like where it was a little bit maybe overly emoting, but this is a musical. So it's like you kind of, that's allowed, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely think she still did a great job. Her singing is phenomenal.
It is. Yeah.
And even that opening number, the
Thank God I Couldn't Be Happier. Thank goodness I couldn't be happier. Yeah.
She killed that song.
So that's
so good.
So that whole beginning part of this second movie, the setting the context with the animals, her with that song, like I was like, man, this is so like this is all working so well.
Yeah.
Like the nuance, I think, of what she's singing throughout that song.
Yeah.
You know, like where she's like, you see the internal struggle.
Happier. Right?
Couldn't
be happier.
And you really feel like her kind of struggling with that and, you know, trying to reassure herself. And I feel like, you know, so many of us should be able to relate to that.
Yeah.
Like if you think, you know, you chase these things throughout life and you think you finally get it and you're going to be happy, but then you're kind of like not totally, but you're still trying to convince yourself like, but this is what I was always wanting, so I should be happy.
This is it.
Yeah, and so all of that she did so well. Man, I for me, like this whole franchise, I guess if you call it a franchise, would not have worked without Ariana Grande. And before I started watching the first one, you know, last year, I would never have expected that she would be like the strongest part of this whole.
It is kind of crazy, yeah, because she's just a pop star to so many people.
I know.
And I think these movies kind of proved like she can do a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And, you know, I think along with that, like you get some more about her backstory a little bit, which, you know, that whole flashback scene. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really, I thought it was short, but I thought it really added a lot more to her character and, you know, just like why she wants the things that she does and what we see in Glinda and in that little bit of a flashback is that she wants it to be real.
Yeah.
You know, like, so she wants to be liked by people, but I think what you get in the second movie is more depth. Like she really does want to be able to make a difference, like have powers so she can like help people. Yeah. Now, part of all of this is like, you know, maybe what helps someone like in her position justify these things, you know, so I can't help but as I'm watching this unfold, these themes, that you start thinking of history and people who've been put in these situations.
Or our current history.
Yeah. But like, without getting too much into like politics and all that, I did think like, okay, this whole role of propaganda and villainizing the other, you know, throughout. Like we've talked about this in context of other movies like House of Dynamite, right? When we have a common enemy, it unites people together. It brings a sense of like peace, right? But when we don't have like a clear enemy, like the Soviet Union or Hitler or
we fall
whatever,
into conflict ourselves.
Yeah, and we start infighting and all these kinds of things. And you know, in this movie, so even there's like a little quick moment where you see Oz singing, and he's like inflates like a globe and then he kind of like bounces it up and down a little bit as he's singing, and I couldn't help but think about Charlie Chaplin in The Great Dictator, where you know it's a satire of him playing Hitler, but he has a whole famous scene where he's like playing around with the globe, you know, inflated globe, like
I wonder if it was a nod to that.
That's what I'm wondering, because even thematically it kind of makes sense with World War II, you know, propaganda, the Jews, you know.
He's sort of like the world is in the palm of my hand type of thing.
Yeah, and you can kind of mislead the masses, but everyone is kind of united in this common cause against...
The wizard's motivation has always been a little confusing to me. Like, I get that he's sort of after power, but then it also just seems like he doesn't really care about power that much. because he's totally cool with Elphaba being more powerful than him.
That's true.
And I mean, I guess he does want to control her, but he also is aware that he can't totally control. I don't know. His character has always been a little confusing for me. That being said, Jeff Goldblum still was so funny playing that role.
He doesn't. I mean, Jeff Goldblum brings a certain kind of levity, I think, than you would expect from a villain, right? Like he has this kind of nonchalantness and this charm, but he's also, like, on the slide,
conniving. Yeah, it's so confusing. I think
and he
trying to wrap my head around it.
Yeah, and he plays that line really well, but I do think it makes it a little ambiguous for us watching it. Because even as I'm watching it, there's a moment that we can talk about later in spoilers where I'm like, wait, so what is his ultimate motivation?
What's his goal?
Like, why is he willing to give all this up when he has the upper hand? You know,
exactly.
And so, like it was kind of confusing. And so that's the part of the second half that I think it's a little messy. Now, again, it might be part of the source material, but I will say, if you're making an adaptation, it is your decision and choice of what you put in and keep out. And like in this movie,
to a degree.
Yeah, like in this movie, they added 2 new songs. Like,
wasn't it 3?
Oh, was it 3? I thought it was 2. Like the one where Elphaba singing to the animals about No Place Like Home.
Right.
And then the second one was Ariana Grande's Girl in the Bubble.
Yes. But then they also added a couple of reprises.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I didn't super love those 2 new songs.
I didn't like either of them.
Yeah, and I don't think it really added anything either.
Yeah, I agree.
But I will say, there is something in The Girl in the Bubble. Even though I didn't like the song, I really liked the way it was done in terms of the staging. Mm-hmm. They had this...
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
They have a very cool effect that they
I need to see the behind the scenes for that one.
Yeah, and I think that was really, really cool the way they did that.
Yeah.
So it works. It's a great music video. It just doesn't really work in the...
I agree. I also think comparing the 2 movies, I think the first one, I was way more impressed with the world and the production design. And maybe that's because the world is smaller. Like the world of Shiz is just more of a closed ecosystem. And so we got to really explore that. And it was really cool. All the detail. I loved it. But then in this one, I kind of felt like we were missing that. We were missing some of that detail. It felt a little more flat almost. Some of the Land of Oz wasn't as interesting because they weren't really fleshing out anything new.
Yeah, it was like the places that have been established and built in the first part.
We're just revisiting those.
We're just revisiting, but just like a small part of it.
It didn't have the same effect that the first one had on me, where it was like, wow, this is so cool. Like getting to see even just the detail on their little cafeteria trays and their uniforms. And it was so cool. And then this one, it just kind of felt like a repeat almost.
Now, do you think that they could have combined this into one movie?
Ugh, that's what's so hard is that if they did, it would be so long because...
But would it need to be that long?
You'd have to cut stuff. You'd have to cut plot lines.
Yeah.
Because the second act has so much plot that watching the stage musical, it's like bam, 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 bam. Like you have no time to breathe. So that's why I was excited about them separating it into 2 movies.
Okay. So you think
I was like,
it was necessary.
You get time to stretch it out. But then instead, I feel like they kind of wasted some time with their added songs. I feel like that was... I don't know. Personally, I felt like it wasted the time.
Yeah, I agree. It's weird because it's 30 minutes shorter than the first one.
Yeah.
But it almost feels equally long to me.
So it's like they maybe could have squished it into a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, I think that's what would have worked.
But they would have still had to cut some things, I think.
I think in the first movie, I already felt like it was a little dragging at certain points. So you keep the bare essentials. And then, essentially the first movie is just Act 1. It's all kind of set up, right?
It's literally Act 1 and Act 2.
And then the second movie, you keep the kind of plot structure, but you take away some of the redundant stuff or the stuff that's... It just all that extra stuff that's added in, those extras B, C storylines.
Right.
Yeah, maybe cut some of that out or thin it down. And then I feel like it could have really maybe even made a better single 3-hour movie. But then the problem is that,
seamless.
yeah, if you did that, then all the people who love the musical the way it is, like, would they have been like upset that, oh, this song isn't in there?
Things got cut. Yeah, that would have been bad. That would have been bad.
Yeah, maybe that's the reason why they're like, you take the safer approach and just redo the musical.
Yeah. I don't know.
But it's a movie, so I feel like in some senses you should adapt it for what works best for screen.
Yeah.
But
should we reveal?
You want to reveal? Yeah. So you thought I would give it a 2.5 out of 5, and I gave it a 3 out of 5.
I also gave it a 3.
Wow, you came down a whole point from the first one?
Yeah. I'll still watch it again. I think this is deserving of one of my bonus hearts because I love the musical so much.
Yeah.
And I am such a fan that, like, obviously I will watch it again. But it just, the pacing, it was so much happening. I felt like characters didn't have time to breathe. And then on top of that, I think the entire plot took place in like the span of 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Basically. It's like so much is happening. And it's like we only had, I think, 3 nights in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Maybe I miscalculated, but it just, yeah.
It does kind of go from like one thing to the next really
and
quickly.
Glinda almost 180s a few times.
Yeah.
Which that's how it originally is, but it's like, oh, realizing she 180s in the span of like 12 hours or less, actually. Because now that we're getting to spoilers, Fiyero leaves Glinda.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, so literally one night, Glinda's like, ready to forgive them, basically. I mean, they have their little fight, which was really funny.
Yeah, I thought the fight was really good.
It was really good.
Is that in the musical?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive. And then she's ready to like forgive Fiyero and Elphaba by the end of that scene, though. And it's like, what? Well, clearly she didn't really love Fiyero that much.
I didn't feel this.
Okay.
I thought that this second movie really becomes Glinda's movie, right? More than Elphaba, I think. It's really like Glinda's the one who now, is in this position, and she has to make this moral choice of like, am I going to continue to lie for whatever reasons she's justified in her head, or is she going to be truthful and fight to expose the wizard and all this kind of stuff, right? I think that she does genuinely love Fiyero, and that when Fiyero leaves her to go with Elphaba, like she genuinely is like heartbroken. So I think like that moment of betrayal where she like shows up and then Fiero's holding the gun to her and stuff, in her performance, I really felt like, oh my gosh, she's like devastated, Which is
why the next morning, her not being devastated anymore was confusing.
No, but the thing is that she does like have that confrontation with Elphaba and is still heartbroken about it. But in the end, she realizes like, but Fiyero loves her. So I thought because not knowing where the story's going to go, I thought that Glinda was going to blame Elphaba and say like, oh, you've like enchanted him or like put some spell on him, because it makes no sense why he would leave me for you, right? And then this kind of friendship of like, she's trying to, be understanding and kind of play both sides, like that she would now take a turn for the worst, and that it would be that kind of conflict. But like in that moment, she sees that he really does love her, and then she's like, like because she doesn't want fake love, right? Like even though she's willing to have that in the public eye, like for her personally, she doesn't want Fiero's fake love, right? So she goes, oh, don't you see? Like he loves her, and kind of like lets him go, And
yeah, I guess it was so fast for her to get there, for me. Like
yeah,
but it does make sense. Yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I just think it was quick.
I think maybe because of Ariana Grande's performance, it felt believable to me. And then, like, when I think about the movie overall, what is this movie trying to say or do? What is it really about? I kind of take away, I mean, it's clearly about their friendship, right? Like that is the main thing. But what I really appreciated was like Glinda's the one who's constantly tempted throughout to backstab or for her own personal gain. But like she continues to do the right thing. And I thought that was like really like a really nice thing for her character that, you know, throughout the first movie, especially, and then this one, like everyone's always telling her like, oh, you're so good. You're so whatever. And she's like, oh, yeah, like I should trademark it and all this stuff. But like she actually learns to really be good.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think like they almost should have emphasized her even more than they did.
Oh,
because
really?
I agree. This is definitely her movie. And the first one is Elphaba's movie. I'm mainly saying they should have cut the "There's No Place Like Home" song.
Yeah, that was
I
kind of pointless.
hated that song.
Yeah.
But it was pointless. It didn't really do anything other than like give a nod to Wizard of Oz, and then it wasted time when we could have been developing Glinda even more. My other problem with the other original song, "The Girl in the Bubble," I think it would have been. I have less of a problem with it, but I think it would have been way more powerful if it had come after her confrontation with Madame Morrible. Madame Morrible basically shuts her down, and she ends that scene like distraught, and then she should have gone into singing that song.
Got it.
And that could have been the thing that like spurned her into changing. And I think it would have been way more powerful. Like, as we were watching the movie, and then the scene with Madame Morrible, and I turned to my husband and I was like, why didn't that song come after this? Like, then I think I would have actually cared more about what she's saying.
Because in the Girl in the Bubble song, like, you're watching it, but emotionally, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of weight there.
It's not grounded.
Yeah. And then so I'm just watching it for, like, the choreography and the whole, like, mirror effect. That was like really cool.
Right.
So and then it's really long. It's like the full song is being done there.
She's looking out the window and they're all yelling like, kill the witch. Like, we're going to go kill the witch. And then she hears the Tin Man story. She makes eye contact with Bach and it's unclear if she recognizes him or not. And then she goes into her apartment and starts singing that song. And it's kind of like, we get a vibe for how she's feeling and what she's experiencing.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not really grounded in a moment. Whereas if that had come right after Madame Morrible, she sings that song and then she decides, I'm going to go after Elphaba and like try to save her or whatever. That would have been...
I guess you would have stacked
been more powerful.
Even more emotion into that song.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think, again, I really bought her performance. I think emotionally, like she was the one carrying the story for me. But
I agree.
It's all these like side stories, like the whole Fiyero thing, like
the Nessa,
and then the whole Nessa thing, like that. And then so at a certain point, it starts stacking all of these things where it starts doing all the tie-ins to the original Wizard of Oz, right?
Yeah,
like the house landing on Nessa, the
Cowardly Lion.
Yeah, the Cowardly Lion and Tin Man.
Yep.
And all of these things, right? And all those things felt very like forced. Now, it is what makes it interesting and it gives this kind of like, oh, this is how it's connected. This is a prequel, right? But then there's this other part of me that felt like, man, all these things that were so beloved, this franchise is totally like destroying and is spinning in a way that makes it like very unlikable. Like, for example, Tin Man. I thought Bach's transformation is really like, it makes a lot of sense and it was effectively done in Wicked.
Yeah.
But like the original Tin Man is such a like lovable, beloved character. And so now it's like you can't ever really see him the same way, right?
Because he seems vindictive or something.
Yeah.
But he's still a victim. He's just a victim more so of the Wicked Witch of the East.
Yeah. And then like, you know, even like the Yellow Brick Road, like that's the whole like, oh, this beautiful like Yellow Brick Road. But like now it's like, oh, you're thinking of all the slave labor that was, you know, used to build this whole thing, you know.
Oz becomes a lot more dark.
Yeah, it does. And so you're taking all these kind of bright, hopeful type of imagery that has been established and then flipping it to like this dark meaning or I don't know. So
did you not like Into the Woods either?
I didn't watch that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
It does the same thing with the fairy tales.
And, you know, there is an element of these fairy tales sometimes that are, I mean, I know The Wizard of Oz isn't really a fairy tale, but, and apparently the book is really trying to say some big things about like capitalism and society and all these kinds of philosophies. The movie, we don't think of it that way. We have this kind of like nostalgia about it. So seeing all these things not only being forced into this wicked story and so much time being spent on it, but it ends up also like kind of detracting, I think, from the overall like
interesting.
You know, feeling about the story, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess I never really thought about it that way. I always enjoyed that aspect. I liked that.
It is fun.
Yeah, I liked that the Scarecrow and the Tin Man had a more fleshed out origin story.
Okay.
I thought it was more interesting because in the original story, it's just like, oh, I got turned into a scarecrow.
Yeah.
I don't really know why.
But
I don't have a brain. I don't know why.
Yeah, but Scarecrow. So this is one thing I didn't understand. So obviously, you know, they kind of imply that Fiero's being changed and, you know, some spells being done to him. They don't reveal he's Scarecrow, but he's
you know.
hanging up on the stalk, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you kind of know. And then the Lion and Tin Man are kind of like part of the revolution that's happening, or they're going to try to get the Wicked Witch. They don't really show Scarecrow a lot at all. Like, and I guess that's all for like that ending moment of that reveal. But initially I was like, okay, does he not remember who he is? And that's why since he doesn't have a brain, he's like forgotten his memories. But that's not the case either. So they had to do this weird thing with him where like he transforms and he does remember who he is, but like they totally cut him out of the events after that until the very end to do the reveal.
It's like a plot twist.
Yeah. But you already kind of know that it's happening.
I know.
So it was just like a weird choice with, I don't think they did a great job with Strawman or Strawman. Scarecrow. But they did really do a good job, I think, with Tin Man's backstory and then the Lion's backstory.
Yeah, I loved that they actually kind of showed part of the transformation too, because that is always something that felt kind of skipped over. In the original,
in the play,
yeah,
with both Tin Man and Scarecrow.
Well, I think specifically Bach just felt more empathetic. Like him going to the train station and then realizing he can't leave. You feel for him so much more than you do in the stage musical.
Yeah.
And then Nessa was just way more evil to me.
Even though in the play.
Yeah. Like she's still kind of terrible, selfish, but in this she felt even more evil to me. And then blaming Elphaba. She was like, it was Elphaba. It was the Wicked Witch. I'm like, oh, that's just betrayal. Like terrible. But that moment between them was really good. But I at the same time, I'm like, okay, we've got the Nessa plot line.
Yeah.
We've got the animal plot line. We've got the wizard plot line and the Fiero love triangle plot line. Like there's so much happening.
Okay. Explain to me the whole red ruby slippers not being red. Like, what is going on there?
I think that was I'm pretty sure that was a copyright issue.
Are you serious?
I'm pretty sure. I feel like I looked this up before, and I think the ruby slippers are like patented or copyrighted or something. But the Wizard of Oz
isn't?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe in the book they're not red, and they just did that in the movie, so they own that.
I think that might be it.
Is it?
That might be it.
Oh my gosh, that's
the
so
movie
crazy.
Made them ruby or something like that.
Wow. So when Nessa gets the spell that levitates her, and she's like feeling like she's floating again, don't her shoes turn red? They like glow and they kind of become like a reddish color.
Yeah, you're right.
So is that
maybe an homage or something? I don't know.
Yeah, and then but then when Dorothy's wearing it, why does not happen? So maybe it's just that it responds like a mood shoe.
A mood shoe. Well, they also don't explain how Dorothy could click her heels 3 times and go home. Like who? Because Glinda can't use magic, so who sent her home? How? Like whose spell was that?
Yeah, because they do the good explanation of like why Oz leaves, the wizard leaves in the hot air balloon, but
even though again his motivation is confusing there.
Yeah, because that was the other point was okay, he has Elphaba there, but he makes this deal where he's gonna release all the let all the animals go and all that if she is willing to be part of his like administration, I guess. But why? Like, wasn't the whole reason why he needed the animals to be blamed is so that he can? And why did he even need to do that?
I don't know.
Because that's the thing is like in the first movie, even rewatching it, he explains like, yeah, when people are united against common enemy, right? But it's not like there was upheaval in Oz, right?
No, it was just so he could have control. But then his deal with Elphaba rids him of all control.
Yes. And brings a person who is more powerful than him into his administration.
It doesn't make any sense.
I guess it's because like he thinks he can control her or use her for the magic. Because
or maybe he's more interested in the Grimoire's ability.
Yes, because that's the thing that because he's also a charlatan, right? He's using human technology from another land to trick everyone into thinking he has powers.
Right.
So maybe it's a similar thing, kind of like to Glinda, where he's a non-magic user, but wants to be able to possess real magic.
Or maybe he's just curious. I don't know.
That's the thing. We don't know. And he also seems kind of like, it's fine. Like kind of vibe, right?
Yeah, like it's whatever.
Yeah, like it'll be fine. And I mean, he's funny in the way he portrays it, but it is a little confusing and ambiguous.
Yeah, and then even when he explains himself to Elphaba about like the animals being like bad or something, and then it's kind of like, wait, what? Well, now I want to know the whole story. But Elphaba doesn't let him talk. Probably because he's just going to lie. But like, I was still like wondering what the reasoning was. Like, is he experimenting on them? Was he just locking them up for his own personal zoo? Like, it's kind of confusing.
Well, he does say, well, there are some animals that you can't trust.
But there were like ferrets and stuff in there. Like, what does he mean by that?
Can't trust those ferrets.
They
look
trust
cute,
the ferrets?
No.
Like,
no, you're right. He doesn't. Yeah, we don't understand what that means, but he had some kind of prejudice, and this is where, like, thematically, is it trying to parallel? Like, there's just innate bias or stereotypes that some people have that they're never gonna let go of. Maybe that's what it is.
That did seem like they were kind of touching on that.
Yeah. Okay. So along with him.
But then why didn't they kick out the lion? Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
The lion should have been kicked out.
Now we need a prequel for the prequel so we can understand all of the wizard's like motivations.
If you know why the wizard. No, I'm just
kidding. What is the main takeaway of this story of the Wicked? Like, let's include the musical. Like Wicked was created.
Full overarching story.
Yeah, or the movies, like, which basically mirror this. Like, what is the takeaway? Because I think there's one way of reading it, which is you need to continue to lie to people. Like Glinda, she continues to live in the lie. Now she has the Grimoire now, which gives her some power, I guess. Because
it does seem
to respond to her.
She has magic by the end.
Yeah. But she never comes clean. Oz, he leaves in some kind of like political deal without exposing and revealing the truth. Elphaba, she's like, okay, well, I'm going to kind of martyr myself in a way. But she never, like her rebellion that she set out on, like she accomplishes the goal.
She basically got Glinda to do it for her, to carry it out for her. Which makes sense because, like, I mean, she basically spelled it out. She said they'll never like listen to me because I've been painted this way, but since you have been painted in such a positive light, you now have like the power to do good. And with great power comes great responsibility.
Well, there's that, but also the Dark Knight made an appearance with everyone needs someone to be wicked so that you could be good. Like, or they said they need someone to be wicked so that you could be good. She tells that to Glinda.
Yes.
Which is the whole, like, she needs to embrace the role of the villain so that Glinda can actually impact the change.
But that's only because she has been painted that way, though.
Yeah.
It's not like she's actually becoming a villain. Yes. Because by her sacrificing herself, she's proving that she is still good innately, but she will never be seen that way. There's this level of well, because you've been granted the power, you must look out for those who do not have voices.
Yeah. But it also does say that people don't change, right? Society will never change.
Glinda changed.
That's true.
And then because she changed, she was able to change society.
I think all that stuff, it kind of works, but the biggest takeaway for me that actually meant anything was like the importance of friendship.
Yeah.
And how friendships can, you know, like the good friendships are the ones that help you stay good.
People come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn. And we are led to those who help us most to grow.
Where's that from? Is that from the movie? Wow, so eloquent, Jamie.
It's the song. It's for good.
Oh.
The song.
Yeah, so I think that whole theme still like works really well. And their chemistry is good, the two of them. So
what was your favorite song?
I didn't have one.
You didn't like any of the songs?
I would say probably the first one. The
Oh, thank goodness.
The thank goodness.
I really like No Good Deed, and I think it's mainly because she asks that question of like, was I seeking good or just seeking attention? And like, what is the core motivation behind goodness? Like, are we actually seeking goodness for the world or just goodness for ourselves? Or I don't know. I thought it was a good, almost midpoint, I think. I think that's the midpoint-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, one thing I will say about the songs in this movie, the first part, they're more numbers, right? Like more big production sounds, you know, big dance choreography, all that kind of stuff. These songs are intentionally, because of the story, like much more emotional songs. They're more quiet songs. And I think like given that, the movie did a good job of shooting it in a way that reflected that. So, for example, like in the first movie, like when we did the review, I was like questioning whether they were really singing or not, right? In this one, it felt very like present. It felt live. So even in like the Thank Goodness I Couldn't Be Happier song, like there was this one section of the song where for like a whole verse, the shot was just like locked off close up on Ariana Grande as she's singing. And
it's
it
like
wasn't cutting away.
Was like a little bit of ad-libbing in the middle.
I don't remember exactly, if she was like riffing or anything.
But it feels real.
Yeah, but it felt real. But it was also because we're just holding on her, you know, and we're letting her just sing. Like, we're not trying to dress it up with all these like wide shots and constantly cutting and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought like those kind of decisions, like John M. Chu still did a good job of.
And in For Good, too, at the end.
Yeah.
I love that they were just singing to each other the whole time, just standing there.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't do anything fancy.
Like doing big sweeps of the camera.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. Yeah.
It was just two people singing to each other. And that was great.
Yeah. So, you know, the directorial decisions were pretty good. Okay. Top 3 musicals of all time. Is Wicked one of your top 3 musicals of all time?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. What are your other 2, you would say?
Les Mis is number 1 and has been like my whole life, basically.
Okay.
I love Les Mis. I think number 2 is probably Hadestown.
Hadestown?
I love Hadestown.
I don't even know.
It's so good. It is a post-apocalyptic retelling of the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, a Greek myth.
Whoa.
So good.
Was that on Broadway or was it like off-Broadway?
It started off-Broadway and then it went to Broadway.
Is it still playing?
I mean, yeah, there's like a version that's still going. The original cast has moved on, but
yeah.
And then I think Wicked's number 3. It's just, it's close to my heart.
Yeah,
it's very personal.
I think for me, Wicked isn't in my top 3, and that might also.
Well, yeah, yours are what? Singing in the Rain.
No, I meant like Broadway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Broadway.
What are
musicals.
yours? Rent.
Rent is tied for 1. I think it's between that and Phantom.
Okay.
I really can't pick one. It's 1A, 1B. And then I think number 3 would actually be Hamilton, which I've never seen on stage. I really want to, but I finally watched it on Disney Plus.
Nice. So good.
And I'd heard some of the songs in the past few years, but like first time sitting through and just like listening to it straight through or watching it straight through, and it is so good.
It's really well done.
All right, well, that's
our
thoughts.
show.
I guess let us know what you thought of Wicked for Good.
Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Letterboxd, or Apple Podcasts.
And join us next time as we continue our quest for the 5th star, which I think we're going to do Stranger Things, the final season, the first half, right?
The first half.
Which is dropping this week, I guess, compared to... It's dropping this week.
Yeah, it's
dropping this
over
week.
Thanksgiving.
Yep. And I think we're also going to do Zootopia 2.
Dun, 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 dun,
So we might have a double header coming up.